Born in an Orthodox South Indian Brahmin family in 1888 at Thiruvannakkal near Tiruchirappalli in Tamil Nadu, Raman proved to be a brilliant student. He passed his matriculation at the age of 11 and at 15 graduated from the Presidency College, Madras. Raman wanted to go abroad after his graduation, but a British doctor disqualified him on medical grounds, saying that he would not be able to withstand the rigors of the English climate. On completing his master's degree, Raman took up a job in Calcutta as an assistant accountant general, but his interest in science did not decrease. He would spend most of his spare time in the mornings and evenings in the laboratory of the Indian Association for Cultivation of Science. After 10 years of government service, Raman resigned from the job to work as the professor of physics at Calcutta University, despite the fact that the university paid him a lower salary than the government did. It was at the university laboratory that Raman did the most important research of his life. The world was not slow to recognize the importance of C.V. Raman's achievements. When the Nobel Award was announced, I saw it as a personal triumph, an achievement, a recognition for a very remarkable discovery. For reaching the goal I had pursued for 7 years, but when I sat in that crowded hall and I saw the sea of Western faces surrounding me, and I, the only Indian in my turban and closed coat, it dawned on me that I was really representing my people and my country. I felt truly humble when I received the prize from King Gustav. It was a moment of great emotion, but I could restrain myself. Then I turned round and saw the British Union Jack under which I had been sitting, and it was then that I realized that my poor country India did not have a flag of her own, and it was this that triggered off my complete breakdown. He was so moved by emotions that tears started streaming down his face. Raman was proud to be an Indian until the day he died. He did not give up his traditional Indian turban in favor of a European hat. In those days, going abroad was a rare event, and people were always curious to learn about one's foreign experiences. Did you not find it embarrassing to be in London with a turban? Raman was asked. Young man, he replied, I will tell you about a little incident that happened while I was in London. One evening I went to the Royal Institution to hear a lecture by Lord Rutherford. I arrived a little late, and by that time the lecture had started, and so I quickly slipped into one of the back rows and sat there. Suddenly Lord Rutherford looked at me and said, Professor Raman, why are you sitting there all alone in the back row? Come up here to the front. I then went and sat in the front row with all the famous British scientists. After the lecture, I asked Rutherford, Professor, how did you recognize me? This is my first trip to England and we have never met so far. Rutherford replied, Well, I have read your papers, and when I saw a person in the audience wearing a Madrasi turban, I knew it must be you. So, young man, now tell me, what is wrong with a Madrasi turban? Dr. Raman was a brilliant speaker, and his speeches were spiced with ready wit and humor. In one of the speeches he delivered at Agra University on 18th November 1950, he expressed his belief in the oneness of nature and science. He said, "I know poverty and misery, and I quite appreciate by personal experience what it is to have no clothes, what it is to have no books, what it is to struggle through life, what it is to walk through the streets without an umbrella, without conveyance, along miles in dusty roads. I have been through it all, and I can understand the difficulties that most of you graduates have to face up today. I am speaking from a long experience of 60 years. Please don't imagine that all the 60 years are milk and roses. To be able to accomplish something, I want to tell you that you have to go through such experience. I admit success in life is not always to the intelligent or the strong, and it is to some extent a bit of gamble, but nonetheless those who have got their minds right and those who know their job will sooner or later, sooner perhaps than later, make their way in life. But they should not be disappointed if they do not. They have to face up life and take it as they find it. This is the kind of philosophy that I have learnt by experience, and I make a free gift of it to you all. What I say is that the great things in life are not really great things in life. The Nobel Prize, the FRS, and the like, many of them leave a bitter taste in the mouth. What I love is to enjoy the common things in life. I am happy that I am still able to sleep at night, provided I have 3 miles walk in the evening. I am still able to enjoy a good lunch or a good dinner. I am still able to look at the blue sky and like it. I still like to walk in the open fields and like the smell of ragi or jawar. I feel a younger man when I see the bauble flowers and thank God who has given us these wonderful things. That is a real philosophy of life, to appreciate what we see around us. We think that happiness consists in going to the movies and watching thrilling films and technicolor dramas. Not at all. The great things in life are the God-given ones, which cost nothing. What you need is the desire to appreciate them. If you have your minds and hearts open, you have around you things that give you joy. There is a butterfly jumping about in flourishing colors on all sides. Look at this wonderful thing that God has given for our enjoyment. We have to love nature and appreciate nature and her wonderful gifts, her marvelous ingenuity, her resourcefulness, her infinite variety. It is the same thing that has inspired me all my life. I study science, not because anything is going to happen to me, but because I feel it is a kind of worship of this great goddess nature of which we are a part. That has been my inspiration as a man of science. I now feel that is the one thing that can always make a man happy. The small things in life, not only in nature, our old friends, old music, and the things we have around us. Many a time I would like to go back to them. It may be a sign of cynicism, but I would like to go back to the common things of life. A glass of cold water, for example, gives us vigor and freshness. I can assure you, there is no pleasure in this world to a healthy man. There is no pleasure in this world after a vigorous exercise or doing something hard. than to go home and have a glass of cold water. If you have lost the capacity to appreciate that, you may as well drink a cup of hemlock, as Socrates had to do. I have another word to say. We all speak of patriotism. What is patriotism? I want you to think it over and in the last analysis bring down patriotism to a physical term. I have thought over the problem. Patriotism boils down to the love of the earth. Where of the earth. When we die, we return to the earth, dust to dust, ashes to ashes. The human body, whether cremated or buried, returns to the earth. Sita was from the earth and returned to the earth. The good earth sustains us. On earth grows green grass, which the cow eats and which in turn gives milk for consumption by a vegetarian like myself as well as non-vegetarian. Ultimately, it is the earth and the things that grow upon it that sustain us and feed us and make human life possible. I think ultimately the love for the land means the love of the earth which has born us and which sustains us. I want you to appreciate the meaning of love of earth. The love of Mother Earth should be shown by tending to her. If she is ruthlessly destroyed, we shall also die with her. The tremendous problem of lack of food in the country boils down to this, that we have left the love of earth to ignorant people who know nothing of the advances of science. We educated people who understand science do not love Mother Earth. Knowledge of science will make us create anything, but unless we have that vision, that desire to love Mother Earth, we shall not make any advance. I think it is a duty laid on every educated man to create something, to see something grow. I say this not as a part of the Grow More Food campaign. I have not been paid to do propaganda for it. I am telling you this in the same spirit that a famous Roman did. When one's Rome was in danger, the people wanted to have him as a dictator to save Rome. When they went to him, they found him plowing the land with his own hands and tending his farm. After he became a dictator, he went back to the land and said, "These plants I have grown, I give them water, I give them labor, and they repay." We should work in this spirit. The more you help a man, the less grateful he is to you. It is, however, our duty to help fellow beings, and we should not expect them to show any gratitude in return. If they do show, we are very happy and more fortunate. The plant on earth will never fail to repay any attention we bestow on it. We must go back to earth and regard it as our supreme duty to do something to produce the things on which we live. It is a great privilege to see such a great body of young people, women, men alike, who are entering the pathways of life after a course of study in colleges and universities. It gives me great pleasure to be allowed to speak to them and make a heart-to-heart speech. I never believe in manuscript eloquence or in after-dinner speeches carefully prepared 24 hours beforehand. I always believe in standing up in front of my audience, appreciate the situation and speak to them heart to heart. I have no desire at all to inflict unwanted advice on you. I want you to think over what I have told you and see if some little thing that I have said may prove the seed of some great achievement on your part, sustain you, encourage you, elevate your hearts above, and so push you in life that you may rise triumphant over all the difficulties and all the troubles that are the common lot of the common man in India today. Several honors were conferred on Raman, including the Bharat Ratna in 1954. In 1924, he was made a Fellow of the Royal Society, London. In 1929, the year before he received the Nobel Prize, he was conferred the knighthood by the British government. His name now changed to Sir C.V. Raman. Later in life, Raman was simply called Sir C.V. He also won the International Lenin Prize in 1957. When he was offered the Vice Presidentship of India, Raman asked, "What shall I do with the ship?" The life of Sir C.V. Raman had been one of unswearing devotion to the pursuit of knowledge and of unceasing service to the cause of science and the promotion of research in India. He set up the Raman Research Institute when the end came on November 21, 1970. His mortal remains were consigned to flames in the campus of the institute itself, as per his wishes. No plaque or monument marks the spot, just a solitary tree.